Hey everybody, how's it going? So I'm a small business owner and I have had this place for over at least a decade now at this point. And I read this article and there was one point that wasn't mentioned in the article that I thought was really important to mention and reinforce to people, whether you're a middle manager at a large business or a manager or an owner or even an employee of a small business. So this article is talking about the long history that certain businesses have had dealing with COVID and the ups and the downs and the financial misery and the shutdowns and everything else. And now it's really starting to focus on what was going on with Omicron. So with Omicron, a lot of people that were fully vaccinated are getting sick. Again, my store has at this point a 100% vaccination rate with 2 shots, and several people have gotten the booster. And around the Christmas Eve time and a week before that, I would say about 2/3 of the store got sick. And when I say got sick, I don't even just mean they tested positive for it. I mean they felt like garbage, so they had a reason to get tested, which is when they found that they were positive, and they stayed home. And this is something that is really important to think about. Again, a lot of people in the comments have said, oh, it's just a flu. Oh, it's just a flu. But hypothetically speaking, that's not true by the numbers. But let's just assume for a second it was. When flu season comes around, typically a few people at the store will get sick, or it'll be kind of scattered, like somebody will get it the first week of November, and then somebody else will get sick the middle week of December. Imagine if 2/3 of your company, all at the exact same time, were not able to go to work. So you're used to running a business with 12 people. Now you have to run it with 2 or 4 people. How does that work? Can you set up your business so that it works when you have like 20 or 30% of the staff actually able to go to work? Because again, we're not talking about hospitals. We're not talking about filling up ICUs or ERs or any of that. We're just talking about, I'm not sick enough to go see a doctor. I am sick enough to say screw that to making a 40-minute commute to sit and stare into a microscope and fix boards all day. Screw that. I got sick days. I'm using them. They're paid, and I'm staying home. If 2/3 of your staff get sick all at the same time, do you have any sort of plan in place as to how you deal with that? Do you have any sort of plan on what it is you're going to tell your customers? Here she says she is wrestling with the unthinkable of closing. Quote, I'm waving my white flag because so many people have been sick, and she's had a lot of people call in sick. The part of this article that really pissed me off is around the middle of it, where she said, when she couldn't fill orders quickly, because do keep in mind, many of her people are out sick, quote, some customers screamed at her. Now, there wasn't enough time, I think, attention paid to this in this article, and I think this is a really important thing. I just want to explain how I would deal with this as a business owner. I was picking up the phone a lot during that time period because it was a little bit short-staffed, and when I would pick up the phone, if somebody said, listen, you guys told me it would be 2 to 5 days, it's now been 5 days and it's not done yet, usually I would say, I am very sorry. We have about 7 people out with Omicron right now. We will do our best to get it back to you as quickly as possible. If even one of those people had then screamed at me and said, that's not acceptable, what I would have done is I would have said, sir, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you back this computer. I'm not even going to put it back together for you. I'm going to give you this thing back. The Apple store is on 14th Street, 9th Avenue. Best of luck. Because when people scream at me, I don't even give a fuck if I earned it. When people actually start screaming at me, I give them their shit back and I tell them to get the fuck out of here. And I think it's really important to understand that we don't live in we're not living in, 1650 anymore, where somebody who's spent a week in their house has no way to tell what is going on in the world around them. We have the internet, we have radio, we have television, we have podcasts, we have cell phones. It's very obvious what is going on in many different parts of the country. I showed in one of my videos that I did recently, this New York City Urban Decay follow-up 6 months later, that you had several restaurants that had a sign up, and the sign said, we are closed because everybody is sick due to Omicron. We're sorry, everybody is sick, so we are closed. Again, with my staff, we had masks on until June of this year. We had voted at that point, since everybody that was able to get the vaccine could get the vaccine at that point, besides I think like one person, that everybody felt okay taking off masks, and we took off masks. Delta happened, and we were just fine. Like, Delta was supposed to be the end of the world. Like, literally just nobody here even noticed it. Omicron comes around, and 2/3 of the store is sick in a few days. I think at one point it was up to like 8 people or something. And my point here is it's kind of obvious what's going on. So if somebody were to actually, quote, scream at me and say, how dare you? You said 2 to 5 days. I don't care about a pandemic. I want my luxury Facebook machine now. I do genuinely believe at that point the only right thing to do would be to take their stuff, hand it back to them, and say, go to the fucking Apple store. Like, seriously, suck my dick and fuck off, and feel free to pay 3 times as much to get the service and still twice as much time there, because they're going to mail it to Texas or Tennessee. They're going to mail it to that place. They're going to wait to have it done. They're going to charge you $750 to $1,250. Then they're going to wait to mail it back to you. They're going to delete all your data. Again, here you may have to wait, instead of 2 to 5 days, you may have to wait 6 or 7 days to get it back at 1/4 the price of Apple and save all your data. So I think it's really important that business owners not tolerate this shit. Not just on behalf of the owners, but the staff as well. So I had one person email me because there was an order that arrived a little bit late, and the guy said, listen, I'm really sorry. I should have had somebody else check in on your order. I was sick with COVID during the time period. I'm very sorry. I'm prioritying it out right now. And he actually apologized. And then the guy responded, and he said something along the lines of, listen, I understand where you're coming from, but I really think that was bad customer service, blah, 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 and you just making up this canned response. I lost my shit, I'll be honest with you. This is with a shipping employee who does a damn fucking good job, everything he does. He got a bonus this week because he's good at what he does. He's very accurate. He made one fucking mistake, and I said, listen, he said, I am sorry. He started off his prior email. I know I'm not supposed to send this email as a business owner. I know that you're not supposed to break that fourth wall of actually treating the customer like a fucking human being that's using you as a punching bag. But he said in his first sentence, I am sorry. He apologized for doing something wrong. He then corrected it, and then he explained the circumstances that led to it, which are clearly fucking visible on the news. What do you want me to do? When you respond to that email and say that you're still pissed and blah, 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 you should have done something else. What do you want him to do? Do you want him to blow you? Seriously, what do you want him to do? Do you want me to fire him? Do you want me to fire him because he started off his email with a heartfelt apology that explained that he was not able to expedite this order because he had fucking COVID, when he apologized for not having somebody else do it? Don't get me wrong. He should have texted somebody else and said, hey, can you handle this order? I completely understand it. But what bothered me was the email sent back that, in my opinion, was specifically designed to try and get the attention of a supervisor so that I would fire this employee that has literally done everything right to try to make things right with you, to apologize, to fall on his sword. I fucking hate that shit with a passion. When an employee actually makes a small mistake, falls on his sword, does everything he can to make it right, apologizes in a heartfelt way to the customer, and the customer uses him as a punching bag. We don't need these customers. And to be honest with you, if everybody started to refuse these customers, maybe they'd be forced to change their fucking behavior a little bit. If it's the middle of a pandemic, and 8 of your 12 employees are sick, and something's going to take an additional day, and somebody is so genuinely aggravated and miserable and pissed off because you're emailing them and saying, hey, I know we said it'd be done by Thursday, it's going to be done by Friday, is that okay? And they send you back some sort of cursing thing, I really do genuinely believe that the only right thing to do at that point is to give them their shit back. If you are a bakery or whatever this woman's business is, and you are preparing things, and people are screaming at you, I genuinely believe the only right thing to do at that point, get out of my store. Seriously, I'll give somebody else a fucking donut or a pie or a bunch of cookies. Get the fuck out of my store. Never come back. Fuck you. I'm telling every other baker in town who you are, you cunt, and I'm going to take a picture so that they know, so that they can decline you business as well. It's one thing when people are screaming when there's actually, again, it's one thing when they're just screaming over nothing. It's another when they're actually screaming when your staff is sick in the middle of a worldwide pandemic that has fucked up the entire world. And they're not, again, think about what they're screaming over here. They're not screaming over something, at a pharmacy or at an ICU or some sort of mission critical shit. They're screaming at a goddamn bakery. They're screaming over a fucking oatmeal raisin cookie. And don't get me wrong, I would really be pissed off. I would be screaming internally if I had to wait for my oatmeal raisin cookie, because I love oatmeal raisin cookies. But that's no reason to scream at people's staff. I have seen so many people act so shitty towards employees of small businesses that are horribly struggling right now. And it's disgusting behavior, it's garbage, and I think it needs to end. My dad was always that type of person that would point this type of shit out, and I always appreciated him for it. I'm never going to forget, there was this one time that he was at a bar, and, there was this one, I'm trying to remember the exact event. There was this one couple, and they were on a date, and the woman spilled, I think that like the bartender spilled a little bit of something on his shirt. He had a black button-down shirt. So this is a black shirt. It's not like you spilled tomato sauce on a white shirt. Black shirt, and it was I forget what drink he was having, but it's something that I barely even fucking noticed it. And, she said, I'm so sorry, I really apologize. The dinner's on us, blah, 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 blah. And just listen, I don't mean to be a dick. I'm really sorry, but like, can I speak to a manager? Because this kind of ruined my evening. And my dad chimes in and says, excuse me, you are trying to be a dick, and you're trying to be a dick in front of this fucking woman who I hope has the sense to date somebody else. You're seriously going to try to get this woman fired when this place is as busy as it is because you got a fucking small stain on a black shirt in a very busy bar? You're a damn lucky guy. You're with a woman who, to be honest with you, I have no idea what the fuck she's doing with you instead of being with somebody else. And you have the fucking nerve to actually try to get her fired. If you're going to be the bitch, be the whole bitch, and at least tell her, I want to get you fired. I want to talk to the manager because you giving me a free meal is not good enough. A free meal is not good enough. I want to see I want to see you leave here without the ability to pay your rent. I want to see that you don't have a job. Fuck you. And like everybody in that place wound up kind of having a small round of applause to themselves. And like that, I think that's the way it should be. People should stick up for the people that are getting abused by shitty customers. I think if there's anything that changes coming out of this pandemic, one of the few things I hope changes is a lack of tolerance for the behavior of shitty people acting like Karens. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.